Welcome back to Perspectives here on Arise News. The phrase, "my money is my money, but your money is our money," is a popular one often used to joke about the fact that women like to keep their own money while spending that of their husbands. Lack of financial trust between couples must rank amongst the top 10 deal breakers in any relationship. What you may not know is that these challenges can even start before you sign those dotted lines. The concept of finances between couples has sparked so many debates, with issues like who pays to run the household? Should it be an equally joint effort, or should it be the responsibility of the man alone? Why does money or lack thereof play such a big role in relationships? No romance without finance might sound to some like a killjoy. One cannot but wonder, though, if there's more truth to this than we would like to admit. Love, they say, conquers all, but money, they also say, is the root of all evil. Today, we shall address some of the sensitive issues concerning financial trust between couples and hopefully leave here with a few sound bites that will come in handy as and when needed.
Absolutely. Finances play a key role in the quality and longevity of adult romantic relationships. Research states that couples who generate income from long-term financial plans, live within their means, and have little or no debt tend to be financially transparent. Research also indicates that financial issues such as high debt, insufficient income, incessant gambling, or investment losses are the biggest contributing factors to financial secrecy. Just as a doctor cannot accurately diagnose a patient without knowing all of their symptoms, neither can a partner help without knowing the true picture and depth of financial and economic pressures. But if they know, can they or will they be willing to help, or will the knowledge be catastrophic for the relationship? Should couples take financial secrets to their graves? More questions and answers ahead, but let's start off by watching this very special report by Akarawe's Kingsley Ikena.
If there is one conversation that a lot of couples shy away from, it will be the issue of finances. Money is the #1 issue married couples fight about, and it's the second leading cause of divorce behind infidelity. When we talk about money in relationships of any kind, we are bound to find some frustration and tension. The conversation about finances, when approached with an open mind, devoid of secrets, can further build the trust between a couple, as trust is the foundation of a healthy relationship. So what are some key steps to building financial trust between couples? Discuss your earnings before marriage. Full disclosure of your finances with your significant other before tying the knot is a must, regardless of how uncomfortable it may be. This is the time to mention outstanding debts, loans, income sources, investments, or other financial assets or obligations. Set your eyes on the same prize. Life happens and things change. So it's not unusual for people's financial expectations and priorities to shift as time goes by. The problem is when couples forget to check in with each other to make sure they are still in sync. It's a good reality check for a couple to sit down once a year, no matter where they are on the financial spectrum, and discuss what they are working towards, whether it's a vacation home, paying off a debt, or saving more for retirement. Also, when it comes to building trust, it's important that you know your spouse's spending habits and financial goals. There are a lot more key points to take into consideration to build financial trust in a relationship. But it's important to note that money and marriage should go hand in hand. Being responsible with your money isn't just good for your bank account. It's also good for your marriage. It's time to stop making these money mistakes and find a common ground, because cultivating a healthy relationship takes time and work. Ikenna Kingsley, Arise News.
That's very interesting. You know, but I think another problem that some couples have is that, you know, like we were discussing earlier on, some people are focused on long-term plans, while some just believe in spending what they have for today and, you know, tomorrow will take care of itself kind of thing. And I think that in itself can cause a bit of a challenge.
Absolutely.
Do you understand? You know, and then you also have one person living way above their means. They've always been like that. Marriage doesn't necessarily stop it. So I think a part of what we're going to need to ask is, how do you draw a line, do you understand, and become more responsible as a couple?
Right. The report stated that it's important to have full disclosure before marriage.
Full disclosure, I don't know about
Would they
that
even be honest? That's the key.
Yeah, but
at what point do you ask for evidence? Do you want to see all the blank?
Exactly.
Full disclosure means you're telling everything financially. Do you want to see all the bank statements?
Because it makes sense to at least have an idea of what the person has, in case, you know, one person passes and you're not, you know, stuck with the debt. Huge debts, or you know, you now have properties that you're not even aware of because you were not told.
Right, but
I don't
full
really know
disclosure.
about, if I'm worth 200-300 million, you must know exactly how much I'm worth. I don't know whether isn't that a bit too invasive?
Right, but then it's so important to get some disclosure. I had a friend that she didn't like the guy that was, you know, coming on to her, and he painted this whole financially wealthy lifestyle, which made her now fall in love.
Oh, nice.
Exactly. Well, some aspect of it, but mostly it was based on debt, money. You know, he was taking her on very expensive vacations and trips, shopping sprees, and she fell, you know, deeply in love. But afterwards, after the marriage, she now started seeing some of the disclosures that he wasn't showing her, digging deep. That's when she now saw that, all
that details is not good.
Exactly. So I see why they are saying get the full disclosure before
I think to a certain extent have an idea. Do you understand? Right. But some women too they're not that deep. They just fall in and fall for the appearances without going into depth. You know, and then it works both ways. A man too can decide that he meets a woman, she seems to have all the trimmings, and find out later that what she just has is face value. Right. So I guess that's when they say two of them enter one chance. No, that's what normally happens.
Right. But how do we get financial disclosure? Will people really be honest on their financial wealth?
Well, like I said before, if I'm worth 200, 300, 500, whatever million, do you understand? My husband will have an idea, or my partner will have an idea, depending on the strength of the relationship, and also depending on the level of trust. But I'm not going to sit there and say, I have so in one account, I have this in account. But yes, if I have properties and, you know, I have other assets, yes, you would know. I think I owe it to him to know, and vice versa.
Exactly.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And if you're taking a loan as a partner, your husband or partner or wife should also be aware of it, because there's nothing more painful than when one spouse passes away. You are now saddled
with the debt.
That just, you know, you were not even aware. Right. Some people are lucky that they can pay those debts and they can work towards it. But some are left helpless. Right. Especially if it's a wife that never really worked and has just lived off her husband. You know. So,
I think honesty is so important.
Oh yes, of course.
And that it's not just immediately we meet, but like the conversations go on over time.
Yeah, because I mean, after the rose petals are falling off, I mean, come on. When the one thing don't finish, and we're now facing reality.
The reality of it.
We owe it to each other as a couple to at least be honest.
Absolutely.
To a certain extent.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we're heading for a short break, but stay with us, because when we return, we expect to have here with us Zil Akaraiwe and Onyenokwe. Perspectives will return in just a minute. Welcome back to Perspectives here on Arise News. Zil Akaraiwe has 20 years post-graduation experience in the financial sector in Lagos, London, and Lusaka, and currently runs the Graham Blake Advisory, a financial advisory firm focusing on risk management and delivering structured financial solutions for clients. And Onyenokwe is a television personality. She was a former presenter at Nigerian Television Authority before becoming an editor for the magazine Today's Woman. She's also a talk show host of the program Seriously Speaking and a motivational speaker elocution trainer, and a life coach. Guys, both of you are very welcome here.
I love that guy.
Welcome.
Guys.
No, guys now.
I'm one of the guys.
You're
One of the guys. We are one of the guys. We're talking about money, so I don't think money knows any sexual
Gender.
difference.
No.
Doesn't know any gender.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. You know.
Thank God it doesn't.
Why?
It won't have liked us.
You should have liked the men. Why?
Let's leave that for later. I'm not cool about myself.
Maybe because men spend money for the wrong
Exactly. Or
reasons.
maybe because Madame is waiting at home and she's watching the program.
No, she's not actually, so I'm freer.
Definitely. Okay.
Yes.
We'll forgive you. Now, let's start with you, Zil. Why are some people, especially men, I mean, Lottery and I were discussing it just earlier on, reluctant to say how much they're really worth?
Wow.
Do you understand? Why shouldn't every partner be kept abreast of each other's assets? And why do you really, is it not going to backfire at some point? Because I've heard of cases where there are millions and millions left in bank accounts because they can't reach the family of the dead person. So at what point do you open up to a certain extent?
It depends. It depends. So I would always say that you said your partner. Any partnership agreement you go into, the terms need to be agreed. And that's something we don't really do in our relationships. We don't sit down and agree and negotiate the terms.
But isn't that a bit of a killjoy? I mean,
No, it's not.
Romance
It's not.
and whatever.
Because but you're here asking a question. It was never negotiated. So nobody knows what exactly the other expects or what they should do. So what happens a lot of the times, and again, try to be as generic as possible, is in a society where the man is the breadwinner. I agree that it's changing here, but let's just assume in this instance, the man is the breadwinner. After all, he's the one that has something to hide, right? If he's worked for a period of time, even before meeting the woman, or even after meeting her, it doesn't really matter, he sees the savings as his hard work. It is very possible that anybody, whether child, whether mother, whether wife, that comes in after the savings exist, sees the savings as available to spend.
For us to chop.
Right? So like, I have this, you have all this, there's this thing we want to do. And if the man, if he's the person fully responsible for the family, he's thinking of
Long term.
long term.
Yes.
So he wants to protect.
The other,
his
exactly. So the other
savings.
person may be thinking, let us do this now. And as God provided this one, he'll provide again. And the man is like, it took God 20 years to provide this one.
Yeah.
There's school fees next year, you know. So sometimes there is that issue. It also depends on which of the two partners is the more frugal one. If the woman is more frugal and the man is not, and I've seen instances where the man recognizes once money enters his hands, anywhere that asks him for anything, the money goes. Some of those men that have healthy relationships will hand over the money to their wives. And even when they want to spend, they know, man, instead of asking, let me go and ask somebody else.
So it's becomes almost like the bank.
Yes, again, and that's a matter of negotiation.
Yeah.
So if
And
the man
trust.
is, and trust, yes. If the man is more long-term minded and the woman is more short-term minded, he's going to hide anything that does not need to be spent in the short term.
Okay.
And so now, it's also, again, we have quite a lot of stories where people are irresponsible. You know, and sometimes men have obligations outside of the
We
family.
know about that. So
Yes. So the man does not want to say, oh, I gave my sister this, because
Yes.
the opposite, I didn't give my own sister. You know, so sometimes there's all of
that's
that.
very dicey.
It's very dicey. So there are many things like that could come up. And we see it also the other way around. The woman knows, okay, you know what, I don't want to have to tell my husband that I'm the one supporting my older brother's family. Let him not insult them. So she hides some of it to do that. Again, and you brought it up, and that's about trust, understanding, frugality, and negotiation.
So we've understood a bit, we've defended a bit why, you know, lack of
Explained,
transparency.
not defended, explained.
Well, explained a bit in different terms of words, how lack of transparency can be appreciated from both genders. But sometimes this lack of transparency creates problems after life. So if there's a estate planning, if a woman needs to know, even both genders need to know what each other has in order to continue after life. There's been instances whereby there are no wills and it becomes a major issue between all the parties involved, the dependence on this man. So, Madam Adesua, what's your viewpoint on how transparency affects afterlife?
When it comes to finances?
Yes, of course.
Well, interesting thing is I have a good example. I lost a brother about 12 or 13 years ago. And he died intestate as usual, right? And there was a huge tussle over who should take what. I was in business with 3 people, with 2 other people. And they had a lot of money. I didn't even know he was that rich, actually, you know. So and it happened that now the question was, so who takes what? And for the first time, the family was like, what do we do? But it caused a lot of problems because his wife is a lawyer.
Okay.
And she said it should be this way. The family feels like, why are you talking about money? When, you know, we have not even put our son down. You know, she didn't quite talk about money, but about where he's going to put taking responsibility, trying to, with her family and friends. And they had children. Left to us, everything that belonged to him should be hers. Because we had no reason. We had many children. But when we tried to intervene, it appeared to her like we're trying to corner the money, we're siding the family. So I just kept telling my other brothers, what I have done is telling them, till tomorrow, please go and write your will. Let what happened in this case not happen. I don't care whether your wife knows how much you earn. Just write a will. Even your telephone, give it to this person, this one, so that we know if anything happens. Hey, what is it? Your wife can't ask you. Because if she does, they're going to feel like she's trying to kill you. You know what I mean? And I wish that wasn't so. Because even I feel a little reluctant asking my husband, please go and write a will. But I do know where most of the things are. But I don't care where anything is.
But you know where most of the things are.
I know, but the truth is, I don't expect to be, I don't think like that. But my husband thinks differently. And I was just giving him the example which I was talking about this morning. We mentioned this program, and I told him, I said, you know what, my dear, it's about trust. And he told me, even I don't trust him. I'm like, me? How can you say that?
Who said I don't trust?
My husband said, I don't trust him with my money or with my business. I said, how did you
because of
get...
transparency?
Yes, because I set up business, right? That who are the board members in your business? My name is not there.
Okay, that you don't trust him.
Yeah.
Okay,
so he turned the shoe to the... And I said, I'm surprised. I set up a business... the majority shareholder, and they have some friends who I pulled along. He said, "Are you
But you didn't put your husband?"
No, and he said, "You call me chairman."
Why did you
That's the thing. The point, I didn't put my husband because the truth is, he's laughing. Even the business is his money. Everything he spends his money is my magazine. When I set up the magazine, he brought the money to start. He brought the money to keep that business going for about 15 years. I said, I am the owner. That means you are the owner. But that is saying it. So I learned a major lesson just by trying to come to this show, is what I'm saying. I never imagined it's something he would think about. He said, but look, my business, you have 20%. I said, I didn't beg you. He said, but you do have to. I said, look, I'm so sorry. I apologize. But he feels, there's a word you gave to me today, and I just believe that's the truth. He felt excluded. And that's what it is when we're doing stuff. Whether, and in relationships, you must bring in even if they don't understand, you must have the uncomfortable conversations. I was completely, I didn't sleep last night. We were talking, other things came out, and we talk, just because I said I was coming for this show.
Ms. Osime started the show with a tagline.
What was it?
My money.
My money is my money, and your money is our money.
Hello,
do you believe that?
That was my financial killing.
Well, but that's what he told you. That's what he was
yes, because you see, like he said, I'm going back to Zeal again. Zeal said something today. Remember, he said something today that society has evolved, but marriage hasn't evolved along with society.
Yeah, that's sad.
In our society, in any society, forget about even our society, Igbo people, when a man marries, the man is the oga, he's the best, when it comes to religion or whatever, he sees himself, and society expects him to be the sole provider, which is okay. Now, when the woman begins to provide, right, a woman comes into marriage. Most women, in my generation, I don't know about your generation, his money is our money. Because that is his responsibility. I changed my name to his name. Nobody, they have to think about me to find out where I came from. So I felt his money, so the children, everything is your responsibility, and I accept. If I do it, it's because I'm helping you. If you don't have it, and if I do it, it's a big problem too, because the man's masculinity has been emasculated if the woman is doing it. So, but at the end of the day, it's about couples deciding and negotiating and saying what. And we must learn to talk, which is where we haven't evolved to a point where, hey, I know you should be the sole provider, but I'm providing too. And this is where I have the money. And this is why, in my family, if they give money to me, it will finish. So it would never have happened. If my husband said, do you want to open? I said, no, please. I prefer to ask you.
Okay.
Yes. That's interesting. So what about joint accounts?
That's a segue, a good segue into
but
that.
Before we continue, we're going to take a very quick break and we'll continue with perspectives in just a moment.
You know, one thing about our breaks is that so many things now crop up. You now lose focus. Instead of now focusing on your question, another thing. I mean, you just...
Like you wish the camera was rolling.
Yes, just brought... Thank you, viewers, for coming back. Welcome back.
They will forgive you, don't worry.
I couldn't wait to start talking, so sorry about that. Welcome back. I hope you would enjoy the last few minutes that we have left. You know, we're talking about prenup, right? But before we even go to prenup, as a man, what are the telltale signs that you can see that somebody is an exorbitant spender, or somebody doesn't have long-term planning, spending plans? And how can you navigate the relationship, do you understand, as a head of the family, to ensure that you either train the person to learn how to spend money and put money aside for the growth of the family and the children? Leave all that, what's your money is my money. In Nigeria today, the women also have to pull their weight.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So if I was with you now, for instance, as your wife, and I like my designer shoes and bag, which I'll do. I like my designer clothes, I like my designer wear. What are the signs that you will see that you know you have to curb before we can take this marriage to the next level?
So I'll give you an example. I had a friend long time ago who...
Male or female?
Male. He was doing okay, there was no doubt about it. But summer holidays, he doesn't miss his summer holidays. Travels with the family business class, wherever he's going. Comes back early September and then borrows money to pay his children's school fees. Yes. He would pay it back. So he had cash flow gaps like that. No, and I was always thinking, I'm not that kind of person. I don't understand it. But he's doing okay. Don't get it wrong. But you see, if he were a woman, that would be a red flag.
Yes.
Not a red flag that you're a spendthrift. You're spending on the family. Right. But a red flag that you're planning is very short term.
Yes.
So some people can plan long term, some people can plan short term. And you have to balance it. There's no right or wrong. And somebody explained it to me a long time ago. He said that when it comes to money and relationships, it's like driving a car. Your rear view mirror sees far behind. Your side mirror sees closer objects. No one is more important than the other.
That's a good analogy.
You need both of them. So when and I believe that a marriage is a contract. And every contract is negotiated. You need to sit down and say,
prenup.
Everything is negotiated.
That prenup thing, I don't know, is that popular in Nigeria?
I've not heard of it.
Some people may be doing it.
Within themselves.
Anyway, let's let him finish.
So we sit down. The man, generally speaking, the man is responsible for making sure the home, school fees, the family is doing okay. So he has to plan slightly longer term. The woman is taking care of the short-term things. Okay,
which is just as important.
Which is very, very, very important. Very important. However, the amount of money you need on a day-to-day basis is significantly less than the money you need when you're planning 1-2 years ahead. So the man is putting money aside, okay, you know what, school fees, no pressure, maybe we're going to build our own house and all that. And the woman thinks, all this money is there.
It's piled up.
Why don't we do this now? And it's like, no, you can't. You know, it's like how farmers say you keep some corn to eat, you keep some for the next planting season. You dare not eat the corn for next. So you may go hungry today and have corn and say, but if I eat that corn, I'll go hungry forever. So sometimes the breadwinner, whether the breadwinner is a man or a woman, is irrelevant. The breadwinner is thinking long term. The other party is thinking short term. And you have to marry the two. You have to sit down and negotiate and say, this money is not available. So in that regard, I would be very much against having a joint account with all the money available to the short-term planner and the long-term planner at the same time. You have to separate it. What is short-term? You run it. What do we need on a day-to-day basis? You run it. We can have a joint account for that because you're running it. But long-term, we want to build a house. Okay, I've put half of the money down. I say, but there's this nice deal, 50% discount on business class to go to the Bahamas.
Hey,
it was a good deal now. What? And this is my friend is they are jackbuying. They are selling their car. They are selling their half the price. Let's buy it. And I know I don't want to buy a car because I'm doing that. It's a good deal, but if we do, so you have to be able to understand. And what really shoots out most of the time is trust. And the second thing is, and I'll speak on that before we leave, what I call curate, but I'll speak on that later. What is the capacity of the individual? Some people do not have the capacity to do long-term planning based on background, upbringing, and all that. Some people do not have the capacity to do short-term planning. So when you are getting involved in a relationship, those are the things I'll look out for. I'm a frugal long-term planner. You're a frugal long-term planner. We will likely be hungry. We will likely be hungry today. Yes. We will likely be very, very hungry today. We're starting to go and eat. You know, if two of us are short-term planners, we will suffer in the future. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Yeah. So those are things you need to sit down and put systems around. It's you to sit down and discuss it and deliberately agree on what should be done. Otherwise, we leave most of these things to chance. Yeah. And then you start to have explosions later.
In there, a question about two people may be short-termers and two people are long-termers. The thing about life is change is constant. You can acquire the skills, which is what we're speaking to when you ask him, what if you find that you have someone who's not frugal? How about teaching her? Yes. So you must first identify the gaps, which starts with the conversations that you have.
To learn.
No, she has to. If she wants to. No, as a coach, what we usually ask is, what do you want? What do you want?
They want everything.
No, what you can't want everything. Yes. When? Everything by when?
Now.
Okay, then how? So you plan it and say, this is how I want to get it. What do you want? What's everything? Define everything. Everything for somebody may be one car. Everything for another may be two. Everything for, so you define, okay, I want everything. So what is everything? If you drill down, most times, if we drill down to our desires and our wants, they reduce to nothing. Quite frankly, they reduce to nothing but to the barest of what you require. And whatever you really desire, you will do all you need to make it happen. Now, if I desire the relationship, right, I will take the knocks and the breaks like my sleepless nights yesterday to discuss this thing and get to whatever solutions that we can get. Because I don't want to leave my 34-year-old marriage. But the question, what this is telling me is that even at 34 years, there could still be differences. For a coach, it's a deep lesson for me. It's a deep personal lesson. Absolutely. I always say, in any relationship, there's faith, finance, and what I call friskiness. Friskiness is sex or what you do. Okay. Those are the three things that your partner, you and your partner will fight over or disagree over. So you have to be sure where you both stand on all of these things. And it's only communication that works. And the desire to be as open as possible and to take the flak. Because at the end of all my conversation with my Bobo, he's the best husband ever possible. I tell him that. He is. He stood by me. He gave me wings to fly. He said, I fly like I'm single.
But this is his husband.
That's what I'm telling you. So he's telling me that it's my fault that I gave you wings to fly. You didn't realize that you had to carry me along, which is a lesson I'm saying I've learned. So you're learning at 59 at this one.
No, but a lot of women fall in that category.
Yes.
Where you don't really carry the...
So it's a lesson.
Like that your friend that you're talking about.
So my
come to chop her.
My message here... No, she has to tell that story. My message here is, even whether your marriage is 1 year, or 34, or 35, you're going to get to a point where you confront either of these three things. And when you do, try to sort it out. If you can't...
Earlier the better.
5 years. So when people are marrying now, you should be thinking about what he's saying is you plan. You say, okay, what are we going to do? Discuss all that needs to be discussed before you start. And renew every 5 years.
No, but change these circumstances, like you said, circumstances change.
Yes,
do you understand? And there was a point that you brought up. Remember when he was saying, still was saying it, that there was a point that you brought up, you said, oh, if the woman can put a certain amount aside, both of you agree this is what we're going to spend on family or whatever. Whatever she now decides she wants to do with the extra monies that she has. She can decide extra money. Is it everything that you have that you put together?
It's like a separate joint account.
So what I believe in what we call healthy time apart and healthy space. Okay, so you need human beings. It's not that we're secretive. There are many things we don't want somebody to know for different reasons.
Yeah, you said it about
it may just be embarrassment. It may just be different reasons. But you see, what bridges the gap of the healthy space is trust. If you're keeping something from me and I trust you, I just assume you're doing it for the best reason, and I move on. Once I trust you, I say trust is when it comes to money, trust is crucial.
It is.
It's very, very crucial. You know, my father said something once. My father died 11 years ago. And I still remember, he told me this 20 years ago. So there is no difference between the man that you give money to spend, that steals it, and the one that does not bring a receipt. There's no difference.
There's no difference.
Yes.
Okay.
So the one that stole it and went, you don't know. The one that spent it how you wanted and did not bring receipt, you don't know either. And two of them, your eyes are the same thing. So trust bridges a lot of gap. So if I trust my partner, that what my partner has done that I found out and they did not tell me, and it's not a significant issue, I just trust I know what, there's a good reason behind it.
Right.
You have to
And this is why you
lie
seem to
to yourself.
disagree. The way you're saying that,
Trust is a lot about lying to yourself, to be honest. As in just for your own peace of mind. When it comes to money and you are working within those parameters and you have that space that anything can happen here, you have to assume that anything that happens in that space you have predefined is okay.
Let me give this quick example.
No,
and you said you're a coach, so I want you to. But
I said I am.
Expand on this example. So there's a lady that got married and she was fully happy. She promised that she will be financially faithful. She's very religious. So at some point she's been having challenges in the marriage. So the guy got a bit abusive. And so she went to her pastor/coach and she was telling him that she's creating a hidden escape fund. So she's taking from the husband an emergency fund, and that the husband does not know about it. She's been building it for a few years. And there are times when the husband is having significant financial issues, he needs to pay school fees. She won't speak. That fund has been building up.
Wow.
And
haven
for her. And it has been giving her comfort. You know, so if anything happens, you know, she'll pack her bags and go. But the pastor told her, no, you are wrong. You should disclose these hidden funds to your husband. So she came to me. What would you?
I still think she's wrong, and that's not because she can't keep the money. Yes, that's not because she can't keep the money.
Yeah.
She's wrong not to have that conversation with him. It's important because if you're doing that, it means you don't want to be in that relationship. For me, give him the space and be honest enough to clear.
But does your husband know how much you're worth? Does he know everything that you have?
He does.
Okay.
It's not because he asks, because I ain't got it. Do you know what I mean? Because the point is, so I think.
But you know he'll take everything from her.
What will he take it for? Okay, that kind of situation.
The marriage became toxic too.
You missed the. I think you missed the point.
Okay,
the pastor must have missed the point that he's abusive.
So you leave the abusive situation.
So she has to get
she's
she doesn't have income, so the income is coming from him. She's building that escape fund through him.
I'm building
It is actually.
It's like the same story I was telling you earlier on. Husband and wife, which was actually what I was going to ask you on this one, is that there are times when, not because the woman is being wicked, she doesn't really want the man to know how much he's worth, because either the man is responsible, or when it's time to pay school fees, or Mr. Bill comes knocking, he turns the other chick, assuming that she will pay.
So I like that point, and the point you're making, I'll put two of them together. In our society, it's very common, because of how we have been generationally, what's the word? Programmed, wired to believe the man is this or whatever it is. So the man sometimes subconsciously resents his partner's independence.
Absolutely.
Because he sees it as a threat.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So the reason your friend is putting this thing away is, I want, in case he messes up, I can go. But he doesn't want her to go. So if she discloses it, he's going to make sure she cannot go. But the issue, the other side of it is, the moment any partner starts to make the resources available to exit the relationship, from that point, the relationship is over.
That's the point. It's over.
So when your mind, it's over. All you're doing is waiting for the ability to exit. You understand? So it's already over. So at that point, you want to now come and say, this is the route for me to exit your abuse.
So in situations like that, secrecy, you condone secrecy. Exactly.
So in situations like that, see, the secrecy is not the issue. The issue is the reason for the secrecy. The reason for the secrecy is the abuse.
Yeah, which is what we
That's
don't
the
do.
issue.
We don't
But what if there's no abuse and it's that the man is lazy? Because some
That
men are
is the
quite
issue. Then the
responsible.
issue is not the secrecy.
Is that the
The
man
issue
is
is
lazy.
Because there's a woman
Yeah.
whose husband is paying
So,
rent to her house.
Let me give you an example.
Her house.
If the man is lazy, you know what that does? That threatens the future existence of the family.
Yeah.
That's the issue. And so what she's doing is trying to protect the future existence of the family.
Are we saying it's okay?
Because
So it's
of
okay,
his
right.
laziness.
But also it might not be laziness. You can also be
Whatever
that the man
it
is
is.
not getting a
it is,
breakthrough.
no, whatever it is, at that point in time, she's the one that is making the money. You know, and she has to protect the money. Just like when the guy has it, he has to protect the money.
Yeah, but will she not tell the man how much she has?
It's immaterial.
Okay.
I don't think it's
No,
immaterial.
it's not immaterial. Let me tell you why it's not immaterial. It's not immaterial because the society, and I don't like to say it's natural, society has programmed men to think in a certain way.
Programmed? No, Zil, I
Tell
disagree
us.
with you. It doesn't. What I said.
Yet.
No, you said it's a man is program because it's not a program. Even naturally, you say it's an evolution. Men were the hunters, and the hunted.
But times have changed. now.
That's what I'm saying. We haven't changed with time.
That's my point. So we have been programmed that the man is like we're saying outside, right? The head of the family is assumed to be a single unit. It's not correct, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The head, if you ask me,
And the
who's
two-
the head
and
of
the
the
two become
family
one.
as it relates to the kitchen? I won't say me.
No, but the person
If
is more important.
No,
Is it the kitchen or the
it's not
back?
about importance. It's about breaking the family unit into its components. Who's the head of the family as it relates to changing diaper? It's not me.
No, but that sounds a bit patronizing.
No. But I'm giving an example.
You're telling women that
no.
who are...
I'll give how we structure the family. Who's the head of the family when it comes to planning, going out and going for parties and children? It's not me. So we need to understand that the head of the family is not the same person in every circumstance.
Yeah.
Now, who's the head of the family regarding finance? It depends. It depends on who's earning the finance and who's more frugal.
So you see that women are sharing the responsibility now.
If women are now sharing the responsibility, then the more frugal counterparty must be the head in that area. It's not about how much you have. It's about the frugality. If I'm earning all the money in the world and spending all the money in the world, I cannot manage finances.
So what we're saying that men should not feel bad if the woman is the one that is earning and she says this is what I'm
ego
earning.
thing is very
Exactly. That's what I was coming. So we've been programmed that this is our right and responsibility. And so if you take it from us, like you said we've been, what's the word you used?
We socialize.
Not social, when you
Program?
Demean, the man feels
Emasculate.
demeaned.
Okay, emasculated.
Exactly. So we think this one makes me a man. What makes me a man is writing the checks and doing that. I mean, sometimes they will say, if the woman is going to pay, let her sleep, give him the money to pay. Those are management methods that two of you agree. No, but those are management methods the couple
Some
will
will.
agree.
You will think I will give you the money for you to now spend. I don't make any sense.
That's both
It's
of
for
you
both
to
of
agree.
us. It's for two of you to decide.
But for both of you to agree.
I don't understand. So, like you were keep talking about.
So
that
the man
woman
is
inherited
down.
wealth. So I should carry my wealth now.
No,
and
not
put
all
it
your
to
money.
account
We go out.
to
We
make
go
you
out
feel
for tango.
comfortable.
We go out for dinner and all that.
how do you
for
pay?
whatever reason, no, a friend takes us for dinner. For whatever reason, that friend forgot his card. And then, since I'm the other guy, Zil, sorry, could you take it? I know that, and I don't have the money. And I know I don't have the money, but my wife does. We should say, oh no, he does have money. Let me no. So, you understand? Because we've been made to
Finding
believe
a
that-
balance.
Yes, you have to, and that's why I said each couple sits down to negotiate.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong, in my opinion.
But you said, who's head of kitchen? Woman. Who's head of
No,
diaper?
traditionally,
Woman.
no,
I'm saying, I know, I said
It's
tradition,
not
I
rich
know,
money.
These
I said
days,
tradition.
men are the head.
No,
So
I'm saying
these days.
If a woman
traditionally.
now is now head
Sorry,
of financially, but give an example whereby a woman is now head of the family,
I can even call
breadwinning.
names. I can even call names of people we know in society where
No,
the
please don't call
woman,
names,
of course, where the woman is the head of the family when it comes to finances, and there's no shame
No,
about
because
it.
it comes to finances because she has it or because she's better at managing it.
Both.
It could be both.
It could be both. I know a couple. The man makes a lot of money, but he's very. I don't want to go generous, but just
Yes,
open. If you come and meet him,
know they
and
fear
then
money.
so he
Yeah.
out of his salary, he moves an amount into an account
that's
for
a good one.
himself. The
That's
rest, anything else you want, you have to go through his wife.
But did you guys know that in the Philippines, right, when you work for the civil service, and go and find out, when they don't pay you your salary, they give you a wife.
Really?
Absolutely.
Against your wish?
Yes, they pay the wife the salary.
I don't understand.
What group of
So
people
that-
are this?
Filipinos.
Everybody.
Go and check. They pay the wife the salary because the wife determines how it is done because they feel maybe from years of violence or
Even the couples
injustice.
that both work.
If you are working an organization, that is your business. So yes, they pay the wife the
That's their
salary.
culture.
Wow,
That's
It's their
interesting.
culture. If that's their
It's
culture,
their
it's
culture.
great.
Because she's the one that will manage it and who does what. Because maybe they've suffered their women, whatever the reasons are. I was.
I know
I
a
was
guy,
shocked.
a friend of mine. His wife is an accountant. He's doing very well. They got married, and she resigned the job to take care of the home.
Okay.
She is his personal accountant.
Absolutely.
So he is the breadwinner, but she's the head of the family when it comes to finances. She decides what they do.
So who is the final head of the family?
She is.
No, who is the final head of the family?
She is.
Overall head. No, you answered my
In
question.
that situation,
So who's the head of the
Overall, it
family?
depends on what circumstance. When it comes to going on holidays and all that, she takes the decisions.
No.
And he has agreed, they've both agreed that that's how it should work.
Zil is very progressive. Let me tell you.
No, she's frugal, he's not. It is only sensible
But I think
to
that's-
allow the frugal
yeah, I think
person
that's for-
to
It makes
manage
sense.
the money.
No, but what I'm asking, when I ask that question, it's deep. Oh. So who will people see as the head of the
The
family?
man, of course, now he's a
That's what I'm
figurehead.
saying.
Figurehead.
He was
I
a-
like what you said.
Figureheads.
Who will people see?
Yes,
Exactly.
because that's important.
That's societal conditioning.
So what do you do?
That's the
So
that's
if
the
the
point.
man
That's
can't
where
deal,
man's
if the man
ego-
can't deal with it, what happens?
No, but in this case, the man
Like you
is
said.
dealing with it.
No, what if
And
what
giving her
if
the
what if,
financial
no,
power.
don't you head of men when they are going
If the
out
man-
and say when the husband the mother is coming, for example, they will turn things around so that they won't say I'm the woman rapper.
If the man can't deal with it, then the relationship suffers. If that is what is needed and he can't deal with it, the relationship suffers.
But are there instances where women also downplay their wealth, not to like
Because of the masculine ego, yes. there are
Yes,
many,
yes,
there are many instances.
many. I would
There
say
are many.
maybe 8 times out
I
of
don't
10.
know. See,
Uneducated guess.
Let me tell you how fragile the...
No, educated ones as well.
Let me tell you how fragile...
Uneducated guess. My guess is
okay.
uneducated.
Let
I
me tell
didn't
you
know
how
you said.
fragile
yes.
the male ego is.
Fragile.
Yes, very, very,
Very
fragile.
fragile.
And you agree. Thank you. We say it, but they don't.
Very fragile.
Okay.
I know men that will not date women taller than them.
Oh,
Yes, women too may not date
Napoleon-
men
okay,
shorter
that's
than
not
them.
Napoleon.
No, I'm not saying that no man. I said no men that the
Are you
woman is
serious?
taller is an issue for them.
Yes.
Or they're going out there, maybe he's slightly taller, then she wears heels. I mean, that the male ego is very fragile.
yes,
Again,
yes.
because of what you said, we are very concerned about how people see
Perception.
us. Yes,
Is that
our
wrong?
perception.
Is that wrong?
It's not right, it's not wrong, it's societal conditioning.
Absolutely.
So
That's for us to accept that.
if we want to change it, we have to change the societal conditioning, which we are not doing.
How do we change the
Let me give you
condition?
an example. I'll give you an example, right? My kids, in their whole lives, have come across, give or take, 100 nannies. Between the ones we have, their friends'
Trust me, we
nannies,
count.
their all of that, all their friends' house, their cousins, all the nannies have come to. Children don't see gender like we do. So the children have come across 100 nannies. All the 100 nannies, they see them by function. People that serve us, that clean for us, that blah, blah, blah. And all the 100 nannies are what
female.
gender? Women. So we as a society are programming or conditioning these children to believe and accept that this is what women do. They won't express it. In 20 years,
But there's also the reason for safety to have female nannies.
Whatever the reason, that's what we're doing. So guess what? There's a meeting in the boardroom and they need tea. There are 5 men and 2 women.
Okay.
And they need tea.
These things are
Who do you
deeply embedded.
think they would ask to get tea? The men would look at the women, and in many instances, I would even dare to say in most instances, the women will accept it. Because they too have been raised to do
But
that.
it's changing now.
It's not changing as
It
quickly.
goes to whoever's job it is.
No. I'll tell you, in Lagos it may be changing, in Lekki Koiva it may be changing. Leave this side, it is not
Yes.
changing. It is not. So those are things we are actively doing to the next generation. Guess what? When there's a need in many homes, when there's a need for anything, financial, school fees, blah, 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 go and meet your daddy. Go and meet your daddy. The children are sucking these things in. So these are things that we then grow up and then we expect the man at age 40 to forget 40 years of societal conditioning and change. I don't know how possible that is.
So what I would say
Never
is
ending topic.
those women that have money, right?
Yeah.
They shouldn't hide it. They should let their children know I'm the one paying the bills. Huh?
Fragile
women should
egos.
let the women know.
Fragile
Exactly.
egos.
It's part of transparency.
Fragile
it's
egos.
transparency.
I don't know whether it's
Fragile egos.
That's the point. Now,
No,
the
no,
child
but
is
why-
going to
what-
think it's that he's doing
But
it.
this one, why does any parent have to do it? Why can't it be we are paying your school fees?
Exactly. Why must
That's
it
a
be
good
I?
point. Yes.
We
That's
are
a
paying
good
your
point.
school fees.
We're running out of time.
Yes.
It's been one of our most fun
I know,
episodes.
I know.
Very interesting topic.
We have to revisit it again. There's never enough time.
Absolutely. Thank you both so
Thank you
much.
both
We
so
appreciated
much.
you being
I
here
really
today.
appreciate your company tonight.
It's okay, they're going to replay that night. It was a
Thank
pleasure
you so
to be,
much.
especially with Zeal,
Yes.
my personal person.
Still, you represented.
Thank you.
For your ground,
Thank you
three
both so much.
Amazons.
Yes.
He's up to the task.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Wow. That's an interesting conversation.
Very
that we just
interesting
had.
one.
Very interesting conversation that we just had. I think what I found most interesting was the fact that Phil brought out so many aspects that a lot of women don't really think about, you know, or we take for granted how sensitive and how fragile men's egos are. That's actually the underlining factor. But Adesua too also brought another angle where, based on trust.
Yes.
Do you understand? You should be able to trust each other enough to at least have an idea of what you both have on the table. What I liked most was the fact that her husband felt excluded in her business, and she didn't realize until she said she was coming to perspectives. So
you have to claim it.
Yes.
But it got
Yeah.
me thinking.
Yes, so the good thing is that's why we have the show.
Yeah.
For everybody to also always have live with something that they're thinking of, or that, oh, I didn't know this, or I didn't know that.
Absolutely.
But like I always say, most of our shows anyway deserve second, third, fourth episodes because life is so complex. You can never say it enough times.
Right.
Anyway, that's all we have time for today. You've been watching Perspectives here on Arise News with me, with Osime. And remember, life is a learning curve.
And with me, Majekodunmi-Oniru. Thank you for watching. Goodbye for now.